Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today in this session we have Right Session 1, with the theme New Ways for Dealing with Medical Conditions. This bright sessions we will do some presentation for about 6 presenters, and the theme for this bright discussion is about dilemma or problems, or something that we need to discuss in our daily practice. And this is some 6 presenters here. And before I read the name of presenters, we are the chair here. My name is Haris Mandasman. For short, you can call me Hari. I am from Indonesia. I work as a senior lecturer in Faculty of Medicine at Al Azhar University in West Sumatra. And my colleague here, Dr. Fatih Ulan, from Turkey. And the other presenters, of course, here also I invited as presenters, and other presenters here are Dr. Swaksin Chan and Dr. Andrea Tigi, Dr. Diana Dominguez Jimenez, Dr. Joseph Vidal Lava. And I'm sorry if I pronounce your names mistakenly. And as mentioned from the program committee to all of us, that is right discussion, we have 5 to 7 minute presentations. But when I speak with Dr. Fatih Ozan, we can extend a bit more, about 7 to 10 minutes of presentation, because it's hard to do sometimes to explain our idea in 5 to 7 minutes. And we don't really matter, we slide presentation more than 3 slides, because in the next also said to us a maximum for 3 slides. And we can do one presenter and the next presenters, and then discussion after all the presenters. This is the difference between the other oral presentation, other seminars. We will discuss all the problems in the end of this presentation. This is the practice. And we hope, based on the ideas, problems that we discussed in this presentation, we can come up with some solution, or not only the problems we discussed before. That's from us as chair of this session. For opening this session, any other things to add?
Dear our colleagues, good afternoon, everybody. I am greeting you. First, welcome to our country, but it's an unlucky situation as weather. Generally, in Istanbul, weather is in this season very nice, but today's and tomorrow, I think, a little cloudy. I thank you for the organizing committee to allocate this meeting, this session. We will start, as Dr. Gassman said, one by one. First, our colleagues present their slides or give their speech, and then at the end of the speech we will discuss them. If you want, as written here, we can start. Dr. Swaksin Chan, please come to the chair. First, a little tell about yourself before your speech.
Yeah.
Dr. Silva. Yes, please.
there is a problem here. I can solve it. I'm sorry to this. Yeah. Welcome, Istanbul. You like it? Istanbul is a big city, a lovely city. You have to see Hagia Sophia, Sultanahmet, and absolutely eat shish kebab. So do I. I'm the Suat Sincan. I'm the family medicine specialist in Turkey, in Atatürk University Student Health Center. This is my bride, but I can tell anything different. If you want, you read about it. Now we talk about dehydration and value of pulse measuring on patient have flu. I want to ask it, in your countries, in family care units, do you use digital sphygmomanometer, digital thermometer on every patient?
No.
Yes? No? Yes or no? In my country, in Turkey, most of the doctors only write prescription. Hey doc, yeah, please write this. Okay. And think about? No, see ya. In Turkey mostly. But some groups of doctors, including me, says that we have to use this device the beginning of the physical examination. Unfortunately, we have seen that physical examination has been slowly forgotten beside the laboratory and imaging methods. Is that your country same? Yeah. Yeah. But in my practice, we use it especially the measure of vital signs, the big, how do I say, the big, hard material. Yeah, dehydration is very important. That patient is therefore, I measure the pulse every patient with pulse oximetry or digital sphygmomanometer for arm. We use on every patient digital thermometer, digital sphygmomanometer, and digital pulse oximeter. Do you know this? It's a simple pulse oximeter. In my country, Turkey, this device generally used intensive care units. Not me, not in family practice. But we think that it gives very important thing. I'm sorry, I must look. Is there anything I don't say it? We think that vital signs have to measure on every patient, wherever you work, or how many patients you see in one day. How many patients you see in one day. In Turkey, especially in winter, the doctors see over 100 patients. What is in your country? 50? 40?
You mean 100 per day?
Yeah. Over 100.
25? Yeah.
25.
So, in my country, the doctors works very dangerous because of the malpractice. You know malpractice?
Yes, I know that.
Because our doctors, I'm sorry to say, but no physical examination. So maybe we see hypertension, maybe see another dermatologic problem. There is nothing. Why don't we meet pulse? In my country, I said there are many patients applying to family medicine units, sometimes over 100. Because of this congestive disease, which we think so simple, like flu, can cause bad results like that. I work in university health center, so I see 9% young patient. The patient, when the patient comes to me, I say, I take your fever, I take your tension, I take your pulse. Generally, in flu, no fever, perhaps 38, no hypertension, but all the patients have higher of pulses. 100, 112, 140, and 165. We know that maybe ventricular fibrillation is common. So we think that you use especially pulse oximeter on every patient. If pulse 100 and advice drink fluid. Must drink fluid. Have to drink fluid. This is there are so many important big problems I have. Patients, our patients, only wants antibiotics. hey doc, write me strong antibiotics. I say, you have to drink a large of fruits, not beer. So, patients are impressed. Why patients impressed? Because our patients don't see a doctor in hand, digital thermometer, digital sphygmomanometer, and digital pulse oximeter. So they surprised. Oh, the doctor so good.
Dr. Sinjan, excuse me,
Yeah.
your time is over
Okay.
in this section because we can allocate 10 minutes for every speaker. Excuse me. If you want, you can say later in this session.
Oh, thanks for listening, and you can send your patient without antibiotics with pulse oximeter. Thanks.
Thank you for your speech, Dr. Sinjan. And I invite Dr. Andrea PG to the chairs.
Sorry, I don't think I'm able to came out from this presentation. Have you any idea?
Is there any problem?
I think so, yes, or maybe it's just me. But not working this one. Or may I try as we did before, just switching off for a moment to the...
Right.
I try.
Arkadaşlar ilgilenecek.
Maybe. Good afternoon, my name is Andrea Pidi, and I attended and finished the School of General Practice in Italy last year. According to Wonka's European definition of general practice, community, it's done. Thank you.
Come on, I do.
Community orientation is one of the 6 core competences. And the definition of community is not so easy to provide talking about adolescents that usually are poorly geolocated and hardly contactable by the health institutions. In fact, nowadays adolescents tend to engage with the community mostly virtually. But in this age group, behaviors resulting from different degrees of psychological distress are the main risk factors in terms of mortality and morbidity. Taking care of adolescents' health is a challenge for general practitioners, sometimes questioning the role and maybe using new tools to effort that. We state that social media and Web 2.0 are vital points of contact between health institutions and adolescents. There are many evidences which confirm that an adequate application of the social network, social networks by the health institution can have a positive impact on the population well-being. This aspect is particularly evident in the promotion of proper lifestyle, in prevention of sexually transmitted diseases, and in vaccination campaigns. However, the main limit to this approach consists in the fact that the high popularity of low-quality content on the internet. This aspect is very evident in the case of suicide, which analysis is useful to understand this trend. The research about suicide-related matters on the internet shows that 16% of web pages encourage suicide, and some of these web pages provide also suggestions to how to realize it. On the other hand, only the 13% of web pages analyzed are aimed to prevent suicide. So a challenge for the health institution is to promote high-quality content, often already present on the internet, but almost never accessible to the users. The evidence available demonstrates that the video format is the main tool to communicate with adolescents via web. By analyzing YouTube, it's possible to notice that the major part of its contents about suicide refers to crime news and personal content. Nothing useful for the prevention. Instead, the results of suicide prevention demonstrate that the contents found are coherent with the guidelines, but never addressed directly to the adolescents, are directed for specialists only. In Italy, there are few videos for the prevention of suicide in Italian, and they are not directed to adolescents. The situation is better making the research in English, and this is the reason why in our work we selected, translated, and published on our website some of these video material. In agreement with the WHO, we identified stigma as one of the major obstacles to the prevention of psychological distress among youth. Stigmatization is a social process that attributes to a person or a group of people a negative connotation, degrading them to an inferior status. The main epiphenomena are bullying, cyberbullying, homophobia, and discrimination toward people and gender. For this reason, we do agree that one of the responsibilities of general practitioners very active in the community is to address this type of discrimination. These are the links to our websites, and the main purpose is that our colleagues in the early stages of training who are attending the School of General Practice get more involved in the management of this website. And this type of approach can contribute to integrate them directly to the social network and to diffuse and spread among the local community useful numbers, helplines, and links to institutional websites. Some of the video we choose address thematic connected with stigma issued in an appealing way. Others encourage social activities in a simple and ironic approach and connect them to the concept of positive thinking. We believe that projects such as ours can contribute to promote equality, to protect vulnerable adolescents, and avoid the adoption of extreme solutions such as suicide. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your speech.
Thank you.
And we will accept questions later.
Yep.
Senators, Dr. Diana Dominguez, please. I apologize if I pronounce your names wrongly. Please correct us.
Don't worry. So I'm Diana Dominguez. I came from the south of Spain, from Seville, and I usually work in rural areas. And a thing that shocked me a lot when I started dealing with the patients is that I've been prepared to deal with a chronic condition or medical issues, but no one told me how to do when people just came and talked to me. So sometimes it was easy because I just have to listen, and they would walk at the door and they would feel better. But sometimes they even asked me my advice or my opinion, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? Everything that happens in my life, I just call my parents and ask for advice. So what I'm doing, just giving advice to someone that can be the age of my parents. So I was really shocked about it because I also knew that it was a point of inflection with the relationship with the patient. I can lose it forever, or I can just get it stronger. So I was very stressed about all these things, and luckily I have my tutor that was very good dealing with these conditions. So he told me, like, depending on how you are and the skills you have, you can deal it some way or another. You find your way. But you have to keep in mind important things that are what not to do. So at first, I admit that in situations I was neither evasive or just ambiguous. And as I was learning how to deal with these situations, I started not just giving advice, but when I see some strange situation, try to act sometimes. And in a point, we just wanted to go a little bit farther, because this situation that people maybe are not talking, or they just want you to participate, they are also influencing in the health sense they have, or in their own health. So we wanted to go a little bit further in the help, because in Spain we have like 6 minutes per patient. So the day you want to talk to them is like 30 minutes at least. And you cannot lose all that time as you would like to every week or every 2 weeks. So we came to an idea that was given to the patients some readings that they could read at home and just maybe learn about them, or get some, I don't know, some help about it, like self-help readings. And a friend of mine just recommended some readings that is from a book that is from Therapy of Obsessions and Compromise. So these are little readings, they can read at home, they are very easy to read, and also they are like tales sometimes. So depending on the situation, you can recommend one or another. And I thought that Wonka would be just a great way to share these things if you have this kind of trouble dealing with your patients and the office, or have you tried another way of dealing with these things? Have you tried? I don't know. Because obviously the reading is from a therapy from a psychologist, but we don't do therapy at the office. It's just the help they can get with the reading itself, or just maybe asking back to us. Well, I read it, I think something. Do you think I should go to, or maybe just orientate the problem a little bit? Because here in Spain we like to talk a lot, and people, it's funny that they just, sometimes they need to talk. Sometimes the catharsis help, but sometimes they need a little bit more help. So I just wanted to discuss it a little bit. I hope you get some ideas back in the discussion, and I hope to get some ideas also from you. So that's all. Thank you very much.
For your speech, Dr. Diana. And I want to invite Dr. Joseph Vada Alaba. Is that right?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Yeah.
Bir daha çağırabilir misiniz orada? You can wait a few minutes. In this time, you can tell about yourself, please.
My name is Josep Vidal Alavall, and I'm coming from Catalonia.
Catalonia, from Spain.
From Spain.
Spain.
And yeah, and well, I practice in a rural area north of Barcelona. And here I'm coming to talk about dermatology that I've been using for the last 5 years. Let's see before.
Do you work in a dermatology clinic?
No, I'm a general practitioner. But
I
just-
see what kind. Maybe you can work especially in dermatology.
No, I'm normal family physician. I'm just explaining the way we deal with patients with dermatological conditions. Because we live in a rural area, so the patients rather stay and take a picture and try to avoid going to the hospital.
Biraz sen bana şunu göster de ne sorun yaşıyorsun. Öyle mi?
Hocam F5 de şey yapmıyor, açmıyor.
Hiç yapmıyorum.
Aha.
Yani
O yüzden biz de şey yapıyoruz. Hangisi?
şimdi açılmış.
Yeah.
Dekatnya dikirim. Dekat kita pakai powerpoint aja gue. Tadi goreng deh.
Excuse me for the
Okay, so I know very well this program because I helped implementing this program when I was healthcare manager. And now, for the last year, I've been back working as a normal GP. And you can see I look like happier now than I was before. So, I could explain very nice tales saying I was a very good manager and I could implement this program, but the reality was that this was possible because we were really desperate. In Spain we had, well, as you know, that part of Europe we had a terrible economical slowdown and recession. So about in 2000, it's very high in 2008, 2010. And what happened is that we couldn't replace the doctors who were retiring. So we had two out of 4 dermatologists retired in 1 year, and we couldn't replace them. Okay, so we were really desperate. And so we said, well, in about, we had 2 or 3 weeks to try to do something because the waiting list were about 6 months sometimes for normal current dermatology. conditions. So we had to do something, and we had to do something with zero euros of investment. So we didn't have any money. So what we had from the years where the things were going better, we had some digital cameras in all our healthcare centers. Well, in nearly all of the healthcare centers. So we said, well, we could use these cameras just to take pictures and to do teledermatology. But what we didn't want to do is to send pictures through the internet or through the mobile phone. So we had to think about how to do this without compromising patient confidentiality. And this is what I will explain a bit later. I think now it's very clear that telemedicine is safe and provides better access to users. Users in the city, but also users in rural areas because they avoid unnecessary trips. There's a lot of evidence that shows that it is effective and efficient, and people are quite happy about this. At the beginning, when we started with the program, they were a bit reluctant to do this, but now they are asking, okay, just take a picture and tell me in a couple of days what is this. I don't want to go to the hospital. And again, we had a terrible waiting list, so we did a small study and we could demonstrate that we reduced the waiting list to the half. Just there were about 30 days as a median, and after starting the program, the waiting list was reduced to 16 days, and now at some point even was about 2 or 3 days as a waiting list. So it was a very spectacular success of the program. And what is good is it's very simple. The pathway is really simple because we take a picture of the lesion. Now we have some iPads, so we are getting better at that. They take very nice pictures iPads. And we just attach the picture to the clinical, the electronic clinical history of our patient. It's like if we scan a document, so we just scan a picture, we put the picture there. And then what we do, and that's what was different, we gave access to the dermatologist to our notes. So what they do, the dermatologist, every day, they have a list of patients of teledermatology, so they enter to the clinical notes, they review the pictures, and they just make some suggestions and suggest treatment. Again, very simple. In 2 or 3 days, they reply, and then we just phoned the patient and we told them there's nothing to worry, or you should go and see the dermatologist physically if they want to see the lesion. Or just what we do also is we can follow up these patients. Sometimes the dermatologist says, oh, this nevus, it looks fine, but just take a picture in 3 months' time and send it again, so you can just follow. What is also good is that it helps us to get some training as well, because once you have seen these lesions and you know what the dermatologist thinks, you can learn. So another time when you see it again, you can just say, well, I think this is the treatment is that. It's quite good for training as well. And that's it. Dylan, I can take your questions. Thank you.
I think Dr. Joseph Anadol for his speech, and then Dr. Desman will give his speech.
Okay, good afternoon everybody. After taking chair, then also I have some presentations. I bring you a little bit, not a little bit far, but it's a little bit far from the previous topics. Is using repellent as must be to provide protection, and the bright discussion here solving problem with the problems. And what's the first problems? The first problems mosquito we know this has significant role as a factor of various diseases, malaria, dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever as exons. but I don't know what the tropical condition different to the Turkey and other country in Europe. But if you ever live in tropical regions, tropical countries, you exactly know what the problem with the mosquito. Even in Indonesia, the malaria is still the second killer disease in children in 2012. We have in every 4 years demographic and health surveys. So in the last surveys, 2012, malaria is still the second killer disease in children. So we still have a problem there. Also, if you go to the other countries in Africa and other countries in Southeast Asia, we have big problems. Why? Because we notice the cycle of the role of mosquito in the cycle of the parasite. For example, in Plasmodium that cause malaria, they need blood. They suck in the blood. But the problem is not sucking the blood. We can donate the blood more than that. But the problem is not giving the blood to the mosquito. The problem is when the mosquito bite us, they also transfer disease. That's the problem. If mosquito only suck our blood, that's fine. We can give more than that, maybe 100 milliliters or something like that. Because even we can donate our blood every 3 months or every 6 months to the Red Cross or Red Crescent. But the problem is not mosquitoes sucking our blood. The problem is they transmit the disease while they suck our blood. That's the problem. So, to solve the problems in every country, in tropical regions, people try to protect themselves from this mosquito bite. They use burn like this one, and use the spray, and now increasing using electric mat repellents. Because the problem is when people use the burn one, it's obvious the smoke we inhale causes our respiratory disorders, respiratory inflammation, and so on. And can cause cough, eye irritation, and so on. And then people change. They use spray. The problem is still the same. Can cause eye irritations, can cause another respiratory tract infection as well, it's irritation as well. But the company who sell this product, they give some flavor for the spray, something like apple flavors, orange flavor, and strawberry flavors. If you go to if you ever live in Southeast Asia or Africa, you will know exactly what kind of product is the spray. Any kind of flavor, they available in the markets. So the people think that the good flavor is not dangerous, but it's not. Actually, all these kind of repellents is still dangerous. And also, electric mat, despite not directly influence the respiratory tract infection or eyes, but all kinds of the repellents contain electrin. Electrin is toxic substance and cause oxidative stress in our body. It can lead to carcinogenic process or cancer. This we can find out many studies more than this that any kind of mosquito bite protections, whether it's burn, spray, or electric, still have the same problem in terms of electrin or toxic substance. Yeah, they have different in smoke, they have different in air, but in terms of toxic substance, it's still the same. Even in our university, we also conduct some research in animals, and the impact is still the same. So what do people think that yeah, we can use electric mat? It's not. It cannot cause the respiratory infection or eye irritation. But in terms of toxic substance, all the repellents the same. Like all these let me say here. If all of you want to know a little bit more about electrin, it is from WHO about what specific and evaluation probability restrictions. This is the chemicals. So, what is our bright discussion now? What is the best strategy to protect ourselves from mosquito bite protection? You want to go to Southeast Asia or go to Africa, what's the best strategy? Do we need to campaign stop using mosquito repellents? If we campaign to do that, what should we do? I would like to invite you to discuss this material so we can come up with some good solution, because family physician has significant role to promote these actions. Because healthy environment, healthy housings, but I didn't write here, how about the travelers? So I invite you to discuss these materials, or maybe we back to the previous decade. It's all East Asia, but now many people don't practice this one anymore. In 1 or 2 decades before, every bedroom or they use this kind of what can we say? Net. But now, if I look in my neighbors or other people in my hometown, it's rarely they use this one. They like to use repellents, spray repellents, and electric repellent as well. So this is my bright discussion. I hope you can give some ideas what should we do for this material. Maybe you don't face the same problem in Europe, but in some countries this is still a big problem. Thank you.
What kind of measures do you advise us?
Yes, use back to the old style. Use a net.
Old custom.
Yeah, and use a good environment.
We have about approximately 22 minutes to discuss.
Yeah, all the speakers, maybe we invite you to sit at the front so when some audience ask the question, so easily to turn.
Yeah, this speech of Dr. Suat Sinjan about his speech, shall I remember something? He spoke to measuring pulse and measure hypertension or blood pressure, and then
Digital thermometer.
yeah.
Do you use now? Do you use every patient use pulse oximeter or digital sphygmomanometer and digital thermometer? Do you use? Do you want to use? Why?
Because it's irrelevant for all our patients. It's not relevant. We had a lot of prophylaxis in our country. We come from Denmark. It's not relevant to use it on every patient. So we won't do that. We use pulse oximetry for the relevant patient, the patient that comes with respiratory diseases. We can use that. And we don't have the same problem with dehydration in our country, so we won't use it for every patient.
Maybe only young people.
On young people, why? Why?
Young people is not drink a lot of fluid.
And you won't use it on young patients.
Yeah. Only young people. I'm working in university health center, so only young people comes.
University students, especially, his population, patient's population, mostly university students. There.
Young people, so.
Clinic.
Yeah. Is there any question?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
But this something about from
I'm from Indonesia, same with the chairperson. So this question is the first speaker. As we know that the parts not only depend on the duration, depend on many factors.
Yeah.
So you detect the
You're right.
parts of the type one option of the treatment.
Yeah.
So you have a best evidence that best medicine, medical medicine, that below 100 you have to suggest ring mask, and after 130 you have to refer to hospital. Is it the best evidence based?
I say that after the physical examination, if there is no reason why the patient has, if only think that higher parts, if only thing, so we need to the patients drinking a lot of water.
So you just use only criteria on the first
Yeah.
to treat as the dehydration, and then one
Yeah,
use
yeah,
as
yeah.
option for the treatment.
Only one.
Okay. The second question for the third speaker is okay.
Yeah.
From Catalonia, yes. Catalonia is a real rural patient.
No.
No. And then I say that to diagnose the disease, dermatologist, it's just not only the inspection. We have to palpation, we have to all palpation and another screening, and then so the dermatologist assure that only with seeing the from dermatologist.
Well, we are very lucky because we had a very brave dermatologist, because I think the dermatologist has to be brave always, to take some risk, because some dermatologists say they need to touch, smell, feel.
Yes, yeah.
But well, this is like a screening, because if they have any doubts, they just ask us to send the patient, And as I say, we can follow the patient, and if the nevus is getting bigger, we just can send. And because the waiting list is much smaller, before it was 6 months, now it's just a few days. So if there's any doubt, we just send the patient.
It's a sort the dermatologist for you as a sort of consultant for you. I mean.
Yes.
Consultant.
Yeah.
And the second time, if there is a very big problem for the dermatologist, you involve to the dermatologist.
Yeah. I think in all this time, as far as I know, we just missed a carcinoma, I think. But it was not really a miss, because I think we lost 3 weeks. So, before the waiting list was 6 months. So
Better
yeah.
distance.
So yeah, the good thing is that we just can invite the patient as many times as we want, really, because for them it's much easier to come to
Your
our practice.
dermatologist works in a hospital.
Yes, in a hospital.
They are in a hospital. They dedicated 1 hour of the time, time dedicated
Yes.
to your consultation.
It's like they remove 1 hour of their normal consultations, and they just put, I think, every 5 minutes of one dermatologist.
Okay. They can answer you immediately.
Yeah, I think she does about 20, 25, 20, I think, consultations. Yeah, so it's very quick.
So dermatologists directly make diagnosis. How do you
Yes.
allow?
Well, she writes, because there are women, she writes, I think this is this, and you can try this cream, do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, just teach those education.
So who is responsible for treatment? You or dermatologist?
Well, I think ultimately I'm responsible for this, yeah, because I prescribe. I mean, it's written on the notes, The good thing is that she enters to the history, her name is there, and the dermatologist, and then, I don't know what will happen if we had a legal problem, but she she writes what she thinks, and then I give the prescription.
I've been also working with this, and it's really useful, but our dermatologists only make decisions about pigmented lesions. So I would like to know, because I think it was the first trial we made, and they were just making a decision about nebules and all this kind of things, pigmented. And I think it will but it's true that with some diseases you just have to do more tests. So do you just send every lesion you have done, or just
at the beginning we were a bit restricted, but now we are sending every week. And also we have started doing this with vascular ulcers, like ulcers.
And
Yeah.
have you made any, because I think you just will evolve to what you do right now, because the diagnosis that we propose when we send them and the one they give us back is mostly 90% congruent. I don't know how to work. So have you made any studies about the whole lesions? How many do you agree with the dermatologist?
No, we haven't. No, that's because the thing is, in primary care we are better just with the diagnosis, but the dermatologists usually just say, but they don't write, they don't codify the diagnosis. So unless we codify the diagnosis, there's no way to follow this.
Okay, so when the dermatologist just reply back, they do not just put a diagnosis.
No, they just write on the notes, on the electronic notes, but they don't actually codify the diagnosis.
Okay.
They could do it, but they don't.
Thank you.
Yes, I've got a sad question for my colleague because it's about money. If you meant to extend this way of dealing with the dermatology problem to the system, who's going to pay for the dermatologist that, and if you already thought about which one can be the reference for the general practice, is the hospital required?
Well, there was a problem because there's no provision of how to pay this kind of service.
Who?
Well, the hospital, they were worried because they thought they were not going to be paid the same way. But as far as I know, they just count this kind of visits as a physical visit.
And it will be affordable for all the patients of our region.
Yes, because it's not expensive.
Yeah, so being so long the waiting list, it means that if they are paid like physical examination, so the waiting list is not about money but just about the organization. Because I thought it was...
Well, because they just can, with the dermatology, they can see the patients with them.
Okay, because there are few.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is not, I mean, when we started this, it was taken like one of the big projects in Catalonia, and they said they were going to implement it in all the country, but so far it's not happened because most of the dermatologists, they don't want to play.
I think it's quite standard right now.
Yeah.
And in the south we had it, as I worked there, and I think in Madrid they're also working with it, so it's fine off standard right now. But as I thought it was just the pigmented lesions, because as they are the ones that, without taking a look at it, you can just make a diagnosis. And it happens to me that maybe I just sent one that didn't look so good, and they just give an appointment for the next day in the morning. So it's working not only just to get a diagnosis, but if they also get doubts about it, the patient just gets in so faster.
It's like a screening.
Doctor, so how many kilometers are there between your working place and those dermatologists?
About, because we are a big area, so the fast point is about 35 kilometers, 35, 40 kilometers.
All the dermatologists do the same attitude, or
No.
some of them do like this?
As I say, we have two dermatologists, and one of these, she was very reluctant, so what happened is now it's just one of the two doing all the, yeah. As I say, you have to be a bit bright. She takes some risk, support we take some risk, but so far it's have been going well.
Thanks. And Dr. Andrea Pig's speech, I thank you especially because you emphasize a very important subject in adolescent population, suicides of adolescents. You talk about as you yes, it is written, I think, 16% of web states encourage suicide in adolescents. Is that
Yes, that is a really a sad current issue, but it's like this. And the problem of bullying, for example, in that age period is also a huge problem that can be very huge in our country and all across the world. The thing is that actually what the guidelines say about this prevention of suicide, that it is needed just to talk about it. It's evident ways that if you talk with an adolescent about suicide, is less probable that he's going to commit it. So the main thought that is behind this work we made is that if we can give to the general practitioner that have many adolescents, are in contact with many adolescents, a way interesting for adolescents to talk about that, it could be even useful, because really it's just needed to talk about that to reduce the rate of suicide. And if someone has any idea about spreading it, if you as general practitioner sees it possible, like not managing this website, but just saying, okay, if you are talking with a young guy, probably with mental distress, just suggesting, okay, just maybe have a look at this, and probably can be useful. We are trying to make that.
in Turkey? Our experience, I'll talk about a little. In daily practice, unfortunately, we haven't got enough time to examine or to listen our patients. For about me, of course, I give enough time to my patients, but generally they couldn't give me enough time to their patients, my colleagues, especially in adolescents, to examine, to evaluate them. There are some legal problems. For example, in Turkey, under 18 years old, in fact, on paper, sorry, they don't go to the solely individually to apply a doctor on paper, in fact. But if she is, for example, if the patient is a woman, sometimes doctors hesitate to evaluate completely, asking some questions in detail. But of course, you are very right. Your speech emphasized the main problems, a lot of problems in psychology in that population. And then we talk about this problem frequently after today, and I think we must learn to use electronic tools, for example, Facebook, Twitter. Maybe doctors follow efficiently to use these facilities, I think.
But even if it's not directly the general practitioner that works on Facebook to interact with the young guys, it would be something like organized by, for example, the School of General Practice. So every year the young doctors inside the school can produce something, and to the other general practitioner they just have to say, have a look at this website, because the information on this website are smart to see but also validated by on a scientific evidence. So it would be great if all the practitioners start using these tools also for learning more, because a lot of the information, scientific information now goes on the social networks. For example, Twitter is perfect to get knowledge about scientific researches and so on. That would be great, but even not doing that, just keeping a channel open. You can't talk directly to everyone maybe, but you can suggest something that they can see and find out there. So it's what we hope out.
Thank you. And most of adolescents follow the serials on TVs in the world. I think there must be a big responsibility for the producers of movies. I think. Yes, please.
I want to add an example about dermatologist presentation. Yes, I'm a family physician. I'm in a WhatsApp group about dermatology, and there is 100 doctors all of the world in this group, and in one year there is nearly 1,000 patients about dermatology in this group. So I think like a WhatsApp group and like this program, we can see too many patients and too many patients in this program. I say this, that we can making some group, for example, Wonka dermatology or family physician dermatology, and all of these doctors can translate this patient.
Yes,
my question to Dr. Dasman. I am Dr. Vishal from India. So it's a hub of dengue, malaria and all diseases. So I used to prescribe mosquito net to all my patients. So during my practice, I feel one problem that some patients used to have one problem, that of claustrophobia. They have fear in the mosquito net. So how will you deal with such kind of problem? How do you deal with such kind of problems? Claustrophobia in the mosquito net.
Yeah. Catastrophe.
Fear in the closed space.
Yes. Under the net?
Yeah, under the net. The patient is having cheek and fever, and under the net is.
Yes.
You mean the catastrophe under the net works? Yeah, like I presented before, that because not many people nowadays using the dome net. So recently, what we are doing in our country, especially in my hometown, because I work in the city, and my hometown still a lot of malaria areas. We have program from the government. We call it 3M. It's from Indonesian language. His program is environmental health program actually. Cleaning the rubbish, throw the water in not appropriate way, and also inside the room as well. So because promote using the net to the household at the moment, it's quite difficult, because the people feel the old style or ancient style maybe, and it's also not appropriate to the model, the current model of the bed. We see the bed for now, maybe the different kind of the bed that people use 1 or 2 decades before, and also the sailing also different. So that's the program now in my mind. What I try to present, the first is we actually try to promote to the citizen, to the people, not to use aeroplanes, just back to sanitation, hygiene environment. And the second idea I offer to you, or maybe you some have experience, do we still need a net? And based on your explanations, I believe that net itself also doesn't have some problems. For example, if we promote the people use a net and they forget to do the environmental things, they also increase the problem. That just makes my opinion. Maybe I hope some of colleagues here who has experience in Southeast Asia or Africa can give some ideas based on the Indian experience. I think this is a good example. Thank you.
Susan, how do we promote this in our India? In Delhi, there is a metro city, you know, one of the best hospital. We used to have use that mosquito net to all patients, irrespective of their conditions. If they have mosquito-borne diseases, we used to have mosquito net to them. So this is one of the kind of promotion. Even though there is no mosquito in the hospital, but we use it to promote because they should use in the home. That is the one way of promotion.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask him if you know any other remedies for your coming from your traditional medicine. I mean, for me, the solution would be more environmental educational program or action from the environmental situation to improve. Of course, this is the best. For instance, in Italy, we have had a lot of malaria problem, but we take off the water from the ground, and malaria is almost extinguished. I mean, but a few parts of Italy, not all Italy. Indonesia is much more larger than. And the second, yes, but do you know if they long time ago if they use some herbs or something natural that can works like repellent without any chemical problem? Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine, it's over. We thank all of you.
Can I follow up?
Sorry. We thank our participation. See you next meeting.